Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about our process manager. If you haven't already watched the videos for Process Designer and Process Editors, please do so before looking at this video. Process Manager is the module that controls workflow and execution of the processes you designed in the Process Designer. Let's launch Process Manager. As you can see, it's empty right now because we haven't created any processes. But you have two different queues. You have Open Processes and My Processes. Now, when a process is first created, if it's not directly assigned to you, it will show up in the Open Process container. Also, processes can be scheduled to start at a specific date time. So not only does the process have to be created, but the date time has to at least be where it's supposed to be exposed. Otherwise, you're not going to have anything show up in the queue. In order to work on a process, you have to claim the process, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But only processes that are in your queue, in your container, can actually be worked on. Processes that are outside your queue are waiting to be claimed. And only the processes that you have the visibility of, that is, you have the rights to see, are going to show up in your open process queue. Every 30 seconds or so, the queues are going to be requeried and checked. If new information is there and you have this particular tile minimized, then the Windows Task Manager messaging panel will show up and show you an alert, notifying you that you have new processes that need to be looked at. Okay, so let's create a process with the Process Wizard. Now, the Process Wizard, it will step you through all the different things it needs in order to create a new process. So let's do that. We're going to go ahead and do our test process we created in our editing video. We're going to, we're not going to assign it to a user. We're just going to give it to the public queue. And then we're going to start this as soon as possible. You can also schedule processes to start at a date time. Therefore, if you have like an onboarding process or something else that is scheduled to occur, but you don't need to start it right away, this is a great way to do that. And then you're going to rename this process. The initial name that the process gets is what the template name is, but I'm going to call this my test process. And then any notes or instructions can happen here. Please do this as fast as you can. Okay, so now it's going to summarize what it's about to do, and if you agree with that, then it's going to be created. Okay. And you'll hit finish, and ta-da, you have it in your open process queue. Now let's talk about open processes. One of the things that you can do, only if you're an administrator, and that is an administrator of AzStudio, not just some specific role in the system, is this delete process. Otherwise, it'll never be enabled for you. If, however, you are a administrator, you do have the ability to delete processes from the system. You also have the ability to assign processes if you have a manager role in the system, in which case I can just force it on somebody. But in a normal day-to-day operations, what a user is going to do is they're going to come in here and see a process that they can work on, and they're going to claim that process. Once they claim that process, it moves down into their queue, and now no one else can see this process. What this is doing is essentially locking the process so that only one person works on it at a given point in time. If at any time you want to manually refresh these process queues, just select the Queues button, and it'll refresh them. Not much to see here except for the one process. So we've claimed the process, and now we want to start working on it. Well, that's easy enough. Let's just double-click it. And now we have the process execution wizard is now being shown. You can see that no task has started. So we'll click this and get us started. Get us started. Now we've opened the first task in that drawing that we did in the designer. This is showing us our subtasks and the current state of the task itself. Now remember, if you had more task flags that you defined in the designer, they would show up here. In addition to looking at the subtasks, you also have the ability to put notes keep a log, and see any details about this process that you want. You can also print these off. You can also add notes and basically keep track of what's going on. So I'm going to open this task, and it's telling me some instructions here. It's saying, hey, those instructions we typed in the designer are going to show up here, telling the user, hey, I want you to do this thing. That's what's very nice, is that you can write a plugin, and then you can put the instructions with that plugin, and they can change based on what the particular task you're using that plugin for. So it's a really nice way to communicate information across time and across tasks. These instructions also use a Markdown engine. So if you read up on our Markdown engine, you can use our Markdown language and actually make this more prettier and more consistently formatted. Now, since I've opened this plugin, that means that all of the different capabilities of that plugin that are normally available are available here. So you've surfaced a lot of functionality to the user, right away. Well, let's assume that they've done their work and they close this. You'll notice that it automatically wrote completed, no issues encountered, and checked the task flag. That's because we instructed it to do that in the template design. If we wanted to, we could change what the flags are, the state of this particular task manually, but we won't. We're just going to go ahead and go to our next task. So the next task will be hit, and you'll see, oh, we have to create a user string. How do I do that? Well, I double click it, and it opens up the user string. Now I've got another set of instructions, and I've got a plugin that's already been written for me to use in dealing with that. Once I've completed the task or the subtask, you'll see that it's also clicked on task completed, no issues. And now I can click next task, and that was marked as my ending task, so therefore the process has been completed. Click here for details, and when I click here, I get a nice summary screen of everything that happened, including the log of who touched what and where and when. Okay. Once this is done, you go back, and you can release the process back into the general queue. It's now completed. Now what's really nice is you can look at the dashboard here. At any time, you can also go to our dashboard feature. And the dashboard feature will show you the status of different processes that you've been working on, or that anybody's working on if you're the system administrator. Also, you can go over here to stats, and you won't see much data now because we only have one data point, but you can actually look at your completed hours worked. You can look at risk processes. You can see all processes. It basically gives you a great, I know that didn't show much, but just get a couple closed processes in there and they'll show up really quickly. Right now all we can see is that one completed process, but this will give you a quick view into all process and all workflows in your system at a really quick glance. So yeah, we've got a nice little lightweight, easy to extend, powerful process management system and workflow system built into this tool that is PaaS aware and takes advantage of all the different connectivity pieces that you have in play within your application. That means if you have a mixed environment system, say an on-prem PaaS, offering number 2, and they're all scattered all throughout creation, you can still manage those into a usable workflow and take advantage of all the marshalling of connectivity that we have in our system. So hopefully you've looked at this and find it useful. Thanks for watching.